Okay, we'll start now. Okay, good morning all and welcome to today's webinar entitled Develop Skills to Drive Results. My name is Jill Fletton and I'm Marketing Manager here at Pluralsight and I will be your host for today's session. I'm joined by Marion van Leeuwen-Kenmer, Head of Strategic Accounts at Pluralsight, and Ilker Bozer, Principal Solutions Architect at Pluralsight. Marion and Ilker will take you through the presentation and demo today, and if you have any questions as we go through, please put them in the Q&A box and we will get to them at the end. I will now hand you over to Marion, who will kick us off. Thank you, Marion.
Great, thank you so much, Jill. And I know my name is very difficult to pronounce, so very grateful for your introduction. And happy to be with you today. Thank you for taking the time for joining us at today's webinar. And as you see from the title, with Pluralsight, you can align your skills strategy to your technology strategy and move forward faster. And this is what we are going to explore with you today. And very grateful to have you with us today and to do this together with Ilker. A very brief introduction on us. I'm very grateful to head up a team working on strategic accounts in EMEA. And as a team, we focus on partnership with large multinational companies and enabling and supporting them. And we do that by trying to deeply understand their technology strategy and to know and learn how that fuels their business strategy. And this helps us to build and align a technology skills strategy and implement that at scale. At Pluralsight, we are all about giving you the confidence that you have the technology skills you need to execute on your technology strategy. So very grateful as well to share briefly, and you can find more on our website, on the focus of Pluralsight as well through Pluralsight One on impact that we can create in the world by serving underprivileged communities. Personally, I have a passion for learning, for technology and for people, and that is what I'm so grateful to combine in my work every day. As you might hear from my accent, I'm based in the Netherlands. Ilker is as well. And Ilker, would you mind introducing yourself?
Thanks, Marion. So I'm Ilker Boskier. I'm a solutions architect within Pluralsight for almost 3 years now. I have a cybersecurity background, so it's a little bit of a shift. But it's like Marion already said, it's really the passion that made me choose for Pluralsight as well. The passion for learning, but also there's a passion to have that learning being accessible to everybody, and that's something that is really great to be in. Next to that, it's a absolutely amazing product. So therefore, I'm very glad that I can say that I'm almost 3 years with Pluralsight.
Thank you so much, Ilker, and thank you for also pulling up the agenda slide and doing this together with me. We're very grateful to introduce the Pluralsight platform to you and providing context on the why it is so vital to your business. We will look really into how Pluralsight can help you to develop critical tech skills at scale. We will share with you how you can benchmark and analyze your organization's current technology skills, and really ultimately to deliver value faster by ensuring your teams have the capabilities, the right capabilities within the right roles. Ilker will demo the platform for approximately half an hour, and we will finish up with Q&A. And you see a Q&A box in the bottom of the Zoom link. So grateful if you could pop your questions there. Jill will monitor them and we will go through them at the end of the presentation. So Ilker, if you could move to the next slide, please. It is really, as the pace of technology continues to accelerate, organizations like yourself are feeling pressures like never before, as we do, because we see a very changed landscape for many organizations due to COVID. And we see business and technology leaders looking for ways to innovate faster, deliver seamless digital experiences, and maintain their competitive edge in the face of constant change. And the challenge really being, how can you make sure to align your talent and your resources to reach your goals faster? And Pluralsight has customers that range from small businesses to Fortune 500. And there's a common thread between all of these customers and why they work with Pluralsight. At a high level, it's because for all of them, technology plays a pivotal role for their future and survival. Whether you are in finance, IT services, pharmaceutical, automotive, to name a few, all have a focus on technology to change faster. We so often hear of the importance to understand and take stock and benchmark the current technology skills of your audience, to align this to the required skill level over time and close the gap as quickly and as fast as possible through relevant, high quality content on a high quality platform. And this provides learners, teams, and ultimately the executive stakeholders with insight and direction on how to achieve their technology direction faster and at scale. So let's zoom out for a moment. And if we can move to the next slide, Ilker. It is really about, if you look at the execution phases of technology initiatives, they're typically broken down in 5 general phases. The first one being the definition of the strategy based on your business needs, based on market forces. And then teams are being organized in the second phase and plans are developed against strategic technology objectives. And the middle phase is the enablement phase, assuring tools and resources are in place. Fourth is developing new applications, services, and operations. And then the 5th phase is to measure and to start the iteration process. What we find very often that is projects are failing because leaders overlook the enablement phase, the middle phase, because everyone is in really a hurry and an ambition to achieve great outcomes that they don't stop enough or long enough to assess whether they have the right tools and the right skills required to pull them off. And that is what we're going to focus on today more. And we would like you to take you through an example of this. And this company is the company Banner. So Ilker, if you could go to the next sheet, please, because we're taking you through the example of Banner. Banner is a retailer, and really a retailer that has a percentage of their products online. They're hearing at this moment from their customers that they need to improve their e-commerce experience. And they're hearing that it is a little bit clunky. It's not as intuitive as it could be. And it's not as fast as their customers would like it to be. And that takes me to the next one, which we're really grateful to see that Banner, they're really paying attention. And they have smart people within their teams, like Xavier. Xavier is a front-end web developer. And he has been therefore tasked to rebuild Banner's e-commerce engine. And his objective is to use React as a tool and some other languages that make Banner's e-commerce engine more intuitive, more scalable, and faster for the customers to use it. And the second character I want to introduce you to is Kelly. Kelly is Xavier's boss. She is the CTO of Banner. And in addition of managing Xavier's work, she has her own project on her plate, which is taking the e-commerce engine that Xavier is building. She needs to move it from on-prem to the cloud, where it lives on-prem today. And her task is to move it from on-prem to Azure. So those have huge implications. So why is Banner investing in these projects? At a high level, they would like to have 2 outcomes. Firstly, they want to rewrite the e-commerce engine so that their customers are more satisfied with the experience that they have transacting online. And secondly, they would like to reduce business costs by moving from on-prem to the cloud and taking advantage of that transaction. And that is why they turned to Pluralsight, because they're challenging. They're challenging with, situations where they're saying, okay, we're struggling with DevOps on Azure now because we're now in a cloud environment. we'll have to look at security, because that is a major concern. We used to know and we're familiar with security in the on-prem world, but how do we deal with that in a cloud world? We also have questions around agile, because there's now way much more employees that need to be knowledgeable and they need to maintain that agile way of working. And Kelly, the CTO, for example, is asking questions like, I've got these really critical projects. Who of my team can I trust have the right skills that I can put on this project, and who can execute effectively? And sometimes they're really technical questions. Like, for instance, we have these microservices and they need to be containerized, and we need to manage them with Kubernetes. How do we do that effectively? And Ilke will take you through in a minute, but I will first take you through 3 of our areas and first touch on the skills area. All these questions and challenges are swirling around for Banner, and that's why they want to bring in Pluralsight Skills with 5 main pillars of technology skills. It is cloud, cybersecurity, data and analytics, machine learning and AI, and agile transformation. And Ilke will show you in more depth how we can help Banner through learning path certification programs, and even on the go through a mobile solution. A second area, while Pluralsight Skills drives upskilling, Pluralsight Flow shows you how it's impacting. It is an engineering analytics product that automatically aggregates data from across the engineer's workflow and packages them into easy to understand reports. These reports provide unprecedented visibility into your team's software development workflow. And the third area, if you identify gaps in process or expertise, our professional services team is there to help you. And should you wish to learn more about all these 3 areas, we'll touch on it in the end, how you can find out more. And really driving this back to what Ilke will demo you in a moment, if you can go to the next slide, Ilke, is really how we can help Xavier. He will show you how Xavier can really upskill towards the critical skills needed, and how he does that from learning from the world's foremost experts, our Pluralsight authors. And our authors are really experts on technology topics and concepts, and they help to do the critical work that Xavier needs to do. We have over 1,500 of those experts, and they're all really respected in their fields and have auditioned to develop content for Pluralsight, as it's such a special gift and a talent to explain technical subjects. Ilke will also show you how to practice, how Xavier can practice and apply them to make sure that Xavier has the confidence to implement this. And then finally, Ilke will take you through the lens of Kelly, so that he will show you how Kelly will have the ability for the very first time to see quantitative measurements of her team's strength and her team's skill gaps. He will show you how Kelly can use Pluralsight to develop and retain the talent in her team and the employees at Banner that she really wants to invest in and make successful. And ultimately, as she's developing this talent and helping teams develop skills within her organization, how she can reach her goals to have a more intuitive product and customers being more satisfied with it, and accomplish projects like moving from on-prem to the cloud. So, at this moment, I would like to give over to Ilke, who will take you through the platform. So Ilke, grateful to give over to you.
Thank you, Marian. So, all right. Just for a frame of reference here, recall that we're going to look at the site through two lenses. The first is through the lens of Xavier, the technologist, and what this experience would be like for him. So the first thing that Xavier might see when he logs into Pluralsight is this experience over here. This is where he can choose what he is interested in. He might not be interested in IT ops because he's more in development, so he can click on software development in software development bucket, and he can click like things like JavaScript, React, TypeScript in here. And if it's not in here, you can click show more, or you can even search for the topic. Now, once he has done that, he can click on done, and he will be moved to this home experience here. And what I want to highlight here is the personalization right out of the gate. So you saw that Xavier was able to select what he's interested in. So Pluralsight will immediately start serving up recommended courses based on his interest. But also, maybe more importantly, it's also serve up recommended courses based on his browsing behavior and viewing history. You're already seeing some recommended courses based on what I have seen. So this is from my perspective. As you can see, this is also a little bit of an old picture when I was a bit younger. But the recommended courses are based on those interests that we've just seen and based on my viewing history and on my browsing behavior. Now, all of this is made possible due to a set of machine learning algorithms that we call Iris. And Iris is what delivers a personalized and tailored learning experience for everybody that uses the platform. Now, if he doesn't know what he wants to learn today and is more interested in exploring, he can head over to browse here. And what he can see is all of the courses and content that Pluralsight has for topics like cloud computing, machine learning, software development, or even some other areas as well. But recall that Xavier has a specific project. He needs to rewrite the e-commerce engine, and he's primarily using React to do that. So he's going to start with a simple React query to see what Pluralsight serves up. So let's do that. And you'll see that there are a variety of results over here. There are some courses and content that will help him scale up immediately. But what you also see is on the right hand are the related topics, but also what other people are searching for. But what Xavier does, what he will do first is go to this path. Now, a path is a curated set of courses and content that aligned to help an individual skill up in a particular technology. You can see that there are courses aligned to beginner, to the intermediate folks, and courses for advanced practitioners of React. Sorry for that. But Xavier, like most of us, has a little bit of an imposter syndrome. He doesn't know where his skill stands relative to all the other React practitioners out here. So what he does, he's going to take a skill assessment. And this skill assessment is really something that is unique to Pluralsight, and it's really special. Because what's happening is here is when Xavier jumps into a skill assessment for React, he's going to be served a series of questions, approximately 20. Iris decides how many. And that will help him to measure his skill, his level of proficiency for the skill of React. And what it's important to note here is that it's not a basic test, it's an adaptive assessment. So right now I'm just gonna click on, I clicked right. And what is happening right now is that Iris will choose a question that is harder than this question over here. And when I say next question, she comes with something. I'm going to say this one. And right now, Iris will give me, the next question will be an easier question than this one. And that way, it will help Xavier to know where he stands and know where to learn from which point. So if he's not a beginner, then he can start from the intermediate or even from the advanced part. To showcase this to you, I'm gonna, like I said, I have a cybersecurity background, so I will show it to you from a ethical hacking perspective. I've already taken the skill assessment over here, and I scored on expert level 212 So it's between 0 and 300. And what Iris already tells you, that, hey, because I'm an expert, in this case, let's say that Xavier is taking this part, because Xavier is an expert on this, he doesn't have to take the beginner courses, he doesn't have to take the intermediate courses, and can start right away from the advanced section. And that way he saves very quickly 52 hours of learning. And I think that most people know about those 5-day courses that you have to go in person, where the first 3 days are topics that you already are aware of, but you're sitting there because those last 2 days is the interesting part. And this is very similar to that, except that you now can take the assessment and skip those first 3 days by taking the assessment that takes you 5 to 10 minutes. But it saves you immediately 52 hours of learning. Now, what's also really nice once you do a skill assessment like this, it also gives you a personalized skill analysis. And so you can see what your strengths are, what your gaps are in the skill of Java's ethical hacking. And the nice part is that Iris also gives you recommendations based on those gaps. And those recommendations are not courses of 2 hours or 3 hours. These are clips, pieces of content, modules that are related to the gap that are identified in the skill assessment in order to close that skill assessment. So that way, Pluralsight is reducing the amount of time that it takes to learn critical skills. So in the case of Xavier, he can go get back to work, doing what he does best, rewriting that e-commerce engine and being successful in his role. Now, as Xavier is going through his learning journey, he comes across another technology adjacent to React that he's really interested in, and that's the skill of Redux. Now, let's also search on Redux. And he browses through the results. As you can see there, again, you can measure your skill here, see what other people are searching for. And he sees this part, React states something on code mesh. And this is a different content type. This is what we call the conferences. And essentially what this is that Pluralsight partners with technology conference partners and those that record their content, and their keynotes and their breakouts are part of the platform. So Xavier now has access to this as well. And he can now virtually attend these conferences where he perhaps otherwise wasn't even able to attend the conference. So since Xavier is also looking to integrating Redux inside of his React app, he will actually search for this, and this would then be the result. And he performed this, and he see this guide over there, how to integrate Redux inside a React app. And a guide is essentially a written article with step-by-step instructions on how to solve a technical problem. So in Xavier's example over here, integrating Redux inside of his React app. And this provides a little bit of context and introduction on this particular problem. And it's like you can see, it's a step-by-step tutorial on how to solve it. And it's complete with code snippets that Xavier can copy and paste and use to help him get past this technical blocker that he has and get back to work quickly. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of content types that Xavier can take advantage of, whether it's a video course, a conference, a guide, and there are some others as well on the platform. And one of those that I would like to highlight as well is the interactive courses. And interactive courses can be found over here. And the nice thing of the interactive courses is that you can actually learn and practice a skill within the browser. So I'm just going to open one up. And the nice thing is that it opens up a safe environment, an in-browser development environment where you can actually type in some code that's going to say class, and where you can submit your code, and then you will have direct feedback as well. What we also have next to interactive courses are also projects. And I filter immediately down on projects. And this is really a different kind of content. Sorry for that. So where interactive courses are in browser, where it's a safe environment, this is where Xavier needs to is being served a series of tasks, but he is not able to perform them within the browser, but he actually has to do that on his own in his own environment. So this is really the real world application, and where it will go from the safe environment of the browser to his own environment, where he needs to program a piece of code. He gets a starting point, he gets introduction video, but he has to do it on his own laptop, workstation, desktop, whatever he is using. And that way he gets a feeling of, okay, this is how it looks like when I do it in my own environment. And once he is done, once he has finished the tasks, fulfilled the tasks, then he can upload the source code to Pluralsight, and then Iris will provide feedback. So in summary, I just want to reinforce that Pluralsight now has enabled Xavier to learn from the world's foremost experts in some of these critical topics, and then not just from a video course perspective, but it's also from a conference, from an interactive course, through a guide, and also practicing the skills by providing these projects. So that's the first lens that I wanted to demonstrate Pluralsight skills through, and that's through the lens of an end user, the technologist. So I want to switch gears for a moment and transition to Kelly, the CTO, and I want to show you what Pluralsight looks like and what value it can add to a technology leader like Kelly. Now, first, to illustrate it, I want to head over to the analytics portion of the app. This is something that would be visible to a technology leader. So I click on the analytics side, and I will head to the skills part, skill analytic portion, and that's what Kelly would be seeing here. And this is something that no technology leaders can have outside of Pluralsight today, and that is a quantified view of skills distributed across their organizations. So Kelly can now see, for example, what her team's average level of proficiency is for the skill of JavaScript, Agile Practitioner, Cloud Fundamentals. And as I'm a plan admin, you can compare it like a super admin on the Pluralsight platform. I'm able to see everybody on Pluralsight, but if you're a team manager, then this view will be adjusted to your team as well. So then you will only be able to see your team. But this way you can at least see what this would be on a team level. Now, if I would go into deep dive into JavaScript, for example, then I see that the average skill rating is 135, how many assessments they are taken, and how many users have been assessed. And what's even nicer is that you can also see what the user's progress is by initial skill level. So you can see that there are 28, that the first assessment, there were 28 novices, and then the last assessment, there were 2 experts. Or even in this case, where the first assessment was proficient, and then the last assessment were 17 experts, 25 proficient, and 4 novices. But this gives you a lot of information. This shows you what the impact is of the learning and what progression you're making on your initiative. So in this case, you see that there are 17 experts there, but what you also see is that there are 4 novices, and this has to do with that we are so that the knowledge, you have to keep up with today's knowledge and with the pace of technology change. And if you don't do that, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're forgetting, although that might be the case, but the knowledge of today is not necessarily as relevant in 1 year from now. And that's also what you see over here. So it doesn't mean necessarily that you're forgetting, but the relevancy of yesterday's knowledge might be completely different today. And then what you also see, this doesn't change a lot when the experts remain experts for a very long time. But on the right hand, you see that the average level of those experts has been increased. And then you have also the ability to see who are the experts within the organization. And that way you can actually see who your experts are and have and choose the right people for the right projects. All right, so this gives you like a complete picture from a skills perspective, but Kelly had a major cloud initiative on her own that's on her plate, and she needs to make sure that her team is ready to move to this e-commerce engine from on-prem to cloud. And for that, Kelly is leveraging a capability that we call channels. And channels is a way to curate courses and content on Pluralsight's platform, or to align them to a specific objectives. So I'm going to click into this channel that Kelly's team created around Azure Cloud Transformation. And what you can see here in this channel is that there's an entire path around managing Microsoft Azure Compute for developers, planning Microsoft Azure infrastructure, and Azure storage. And all of these topics are critical for her team to be familiar with the successfully execute an Azure Cloud Transformation. So what Kelly can do in this case is she can aggregate all this information within the channel and then assign or add team members to this channel. So I can, for example, have my team added. Let's say that 8-bit is my team. I can select 8-bit, and then all members of this team will be assigned to this channel as well. Yeah, and I can also add individuals, like for example, Marion, and I can say that Mary can also be a contributor to this channel so that we can build this channel together. But during this whole process, Kelly has also identified a key gap. She's identified that she doesn't have an Azure Cloud admin, and which would be someone with the skills in place today to be her Azure Cloud admin. And for that, Kelly turns to another capability within our sites, and that's what we call Role IQ. So if Kelly needs, let me just click to Role IQ over here. Yeah, so this is the Role IQ from a learner perspective, and we have roles from Microsoft. We have a Python web developer role on the Pluralsight platform. And in Kelly's case, she's looking for a role Microsoft Azure Administrator. And we have partner roles over here. And as you can see, we have the Microsoft Azure Administrator as well. So this is from a learner perspective, but we can also head over to this. Let me just click on here to show how this would look like. And what you also can do is from an analytics perspective, head over to roles. And then what you will see is also the analytics from the roles perspective. Now I can also click into the roles itself. There it is. We have the partner roles, and as you can see, we have roles that are created together in partnership with Google, in partnership with Microsoft. So I'll click on the Microsoft Azure role, and I can assign this role, just like we did with channels, to Xavier or to Marion in this case, or to a complete team. And if she feels like these roles are that the skills in here are not sufficient, then she can also customize this role in order to add certain skills. And once she has done that, she can actually go into the analytics for this particular role. And then it always takes some time to load. And then she can see who has these, who are the users with this role. And in this case, we have some people in here. But then she can at least see who has the right skills in order to be, or the right role IQ in order to be the Microsoft Azure administrator. So if we zoom out for a moment, what this enables Kelly to do is to identify the key roles that she needs on her team to be able to execute a successful cloud transformation. And she can assign people to those roles. So those people can assess their skills in those roles and then have a clear path for skill and career development within that role. And all of this here enables Kelly to do some very important things. And as I mentioned at the outset with Pluralsight, Kelly now has the ability to see her team's strengths as well as her team's skills gaps, and she can action against those and make sure that she's closing gaps and helping people develop skills. And she can develop and retain her top talent to help everybody feel engaged and feel like that they are learning and that they are tied up for success within their role. And at a high level, you know, Kelly is now able to ship products faster because she has the right people with the right skills and the right roles to be able to execute against her objectives. So whether that's shipping products faster or like the project that we walked through, her helping, she's preparing her team to move from on-prem to Azure in the cloud. Thank you. So I think we can head over to Q&A.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, both of you, for going through that. We have a few questions here, so I will start going through them. If I go through MD100 and MD101 courses at Pluralsight, will I then be able to take Microsoft certificate MD100 and MD101? So it says questions there. If you take the courses, go through the courses, are you then prepared to take the Microsoft certification?
Yeah, so we do have certification preparation paths within the platform, and if they are meant to prepare for a certificate. So if they are on the platform as certification preparation, then yes. Then, but it's not that we certify you, but it's a preparation towards that certificate.
Great, that's great. And how do you create a list of workers and their expertise? Your team members can be expert in some things but not in others. Do you define a list with all the skills?
So let me see if I understand the question right. So the creation of the list of workers, that is those that are having a Pluralsight license, so those that are within the Pluralsight platform as a learner, they are creating pretty much the data. They are taking the skill assessments. So it's really a combination of from a leader perspective that you provide them with the right tools, and then also with the right expectation of, hey, we also want you to take the skill assessment and motivate them to actually do that. Once they have done that, then in the analytics section, it will populate the skills that are assessed as such. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and can I add to that, Ilker? I think
Sure,
what we see many organizations do, smaller or bigger ones, is to encourage people to take the skill IQs. And we often organize skill IQ days where we encourage the total population to benchmark their skills. And that is really working very well to get an insight in the tech skill level of your organizations. We even sometimes see organizations running challenges where a manager says, my skill IQ is this. And sometimes it is low, sometimes a little bit higher, but encourages their team to do it as well and improve on that. So Ilker, I think you painted it really well.
Thanks.
Okay. I think just a follow on from that one then is how many skills are there? Do we have a typology of skills? Is that the answer? Many, many.
I know they're like it's around 300,
Okay.
if not more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. And then if the next question, if I meet some blocking issues during any courses or projects, how can I get help? Can the specialist take time on it? Is there a way to ask questions while you're doing the courses?
Yeah. There are several ways of requesting help. So if it's really on the matter itself, on most of the courses we have a discuss area on the discuss platform. So that's external Pluralsight. So that's where you can ask questions. We also have feedback or request support on pretty much any area of the page, even on the video player itself, if it's like technically related. One other thing that we also have and provide are workshops, where workshops is more a virtual way of learning, where you can actually personalize your way of or have your own course together with an expert from our end, and that's completely tailored to your needs as well.
Okay.
So there are different levels of supporting there.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And then Marion, I answered this in the chat, but maybe you would just like to maybe add something to it as well. There's a question around: do we only work with large multinational companies?
No, that is of course a very fair question, and we don't. We have a whole organization that supports, you know, small and medium-sized companies to very large companies, but we have segmented our organizations to really support you in the best way possible. So we have a whole range of employees to supporting you in all different sizes of companies. So definitely want to support you all, whether you're small or bigger or in the middle. Absolutely, Jill. That was a very fair question and a good question to ask.
Okay, that's great. And we might just take one or two more questions as well. I think we have some time. So probably another question for you, Marion. Is this a subscription product that you get access to all the content as part of that subscription?
That's a great question, Jill, that came through. When organizations purchase Pluralsight, it is an annual subscription. You could buy access for yourself if you're an individual technologist and do a personal one, but if you work for an organization or if you lead a team, you can purchase Pluralsight for your team. And what that gives you is access to all of the content on the platform, plus all the different capabilities that Ilker has been describing to you, depending on which plan you purchase for an entire year. So it's a relatively simple structure, Jill.
That's great. And we might just take one more. Ilker, probably for you, are the skills assessments results shareable on the platform?
Yes, they are, but they are, so you can have the possibility to share them on LinkedIn, and there's also a possibility to share them on Stack Overflow, and that's really up to the learner. But it's well, so far it's like you would share your own certificate, of course, that once you have received your certificate, that's also something you would like to share, and that we can do that also. A learner, I think most of the learners that are having at least proficient or expert, they are do that on LinkedIn as well. I have done it at least a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's all for the questions. Do you want to share just the last couple of slides there, Ilker? There's a few upcoming events that might be interesting to the attendees on the call.
Let me.
Great, Ilker. That is absolutely wonderful, Ilker. So thank you so much for sharing it. And let me just get back to my notes. So really grateful to invite you to Connect 2020. It is next week. It is a 2-day event, and it combines all kind of presentations. It combines customer presentations, and I just heard that IKEA and Ricoh are confirmed to present, but as well you see many of our project specialists. So there's actually also a flow presentation of our expert on flow together with the director of engineering of Workfront. So strongly encourage you to feel welcome to register to Connect 2020 and find the sessions of relevance to you, and it is free. So we hope, for you to be joining next week. And if Ilker, there's another event in October, which is our Pluralsight Live event. Pluralsight Live is a global event, and it's a free virtual event. And that is really focused on how to unlock the full power of technology. It will enable you again to hear from experts in the field. We have customers presenting like Ericsson, like BT, like Accenture, like BNP Paribas, to name a few. You can search for the link that you can find on Pluralsight Live. It is happening from October 13th to 15th, and it's a global event. And we hope you get inspired by that piece, for those content as well, because we've got some great thought leadership and as well as some great keynote speakers, they're presenting as well. And then finally, I would like to end with really thanking you. If you go to the next slide, Ilker, if you would like to have further information following this session, we would strongly encourage you, to email to sales.emea@pluralsight.com so that we can assign, the right persons to help you further. We are very grateful for you all taking the time for this 3/4 of an hour. We hope you stay safe and healthy, and any questions, we would love to connect. So if you could email us, that would be great. So thank you all so much for attending. Thank you, Ilker, and thank you, Jill, for being with us, today and leading this session. And hopefully we see you again at some of our next events. But thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day.
Great. Thank you, Marion. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.